We're talking college football playoffs coming up. The first college football playoff rankings of the season have been released, putting an end to our weeks of speculation and starting another round of speculation. Thanks for joining us here at Scout Battleground. He's Scott Kennedy, and I'm Amy Campbell. Scott, Clemson comes in at number 1. I think that's the right call. What do you think?
I don't know that there was a right call, so why not Clemson? You know, I think the easy thing to do would have been to have Ohio State number 1. They're the ones that keep winning. They're the ones that are the defending champion. I don't know that there is a team out there that has the resume that proves that they absolutely belong number 1. But as I was thinking about this during the day, I'm like, you know what? Clemson might be the best team in the country. So I don't have a problem with them being number 1, but it still surprises me a little bit that it's not Ohio State.
Well, if you're matching resumes with Ohio State, Clemson has several more impressive wins than the Buckeyes do right now.
Well, the big one is the win over Notre Dame at home. It was a close win, and you see Notre Dame got a lot of credit for that win as well, where Ohio State hasn't really gotten into the teeth of their schedule. They've done enough to win, and then a few times they did. But the thing that surprises me about Ohio State is they seem to be playing their best right now until they suspend their quarterback. So you never know. But again, I think the easy thing to do would have stayed Ohio State. But again, Clemson's earned it. I don't think there's a big complaint there. There's other complaints farther down the line than the number 1 through 3.
All right, well, let's check in with our guy Trevor Groves of CUTigers.com to get some of his insight on this. Trevor, what do you think about this number 1 ranking for the Tigers? How much excitement is there around this program right now?
Well, it's really exciting for the Clemson fan base, but as Scott said, it's such a fluid situation, and you could really throw all 4 of those teams, all 6 of those teams really into a hat and just pick any of one of them, and you probably wouldn't be wrong. But I think I wouldn't say I'm terribly surprised by the number 1 ranking. I think Clemson had been gaining a lot of momentum the last week or so with the discussion around the nation. Certainly the 58-0 blowout at Miami helped them secure that spot. But also, you know, there are a lot of metrics in Clemson's favor. Clemson has the number 18 strength of schedule, LSU's 28, Ohio State 72, Alabama number 3 strength of schedule, but of course they're sitting there with that loss. But I think their strong schedule helped them get into the top 4. But Clemson's first in strength of record, first in game control, also top 5 in both offensive and defensive efficiency. It's the only unbeaten team with a win over a top 10 team. So I think all of those things contributed to Clemson's number 1 ranking.
Well, Trevor, I know who I want as my lobbyist when I need to get something done. I'm coming straight to Trevor Groves. But the pressure on here of being number 1, now you got a big bullseye on your back with the biggest game of the season coming up. How are they going to stay? It's not going to be hard to stay focused on them, but is this a distraction at all, number 1 with the big Florida State game coming?
I really don't think it is. You know, you talk to these players week in, week out, and they all just say the same thing. You know, Dabo Swinney has really instilled the mentality into these players' psyche that it's a 1-game season every week. They have a really regimented structure in the way they prepare each week, and it's the exact same whether it's Wofford or App State or Notre Dame or Florida State. And so I think that they've all really bought into that concept. I think it's one of the reasons that Clemson's been able to achieve such consistency over the last 4 years, haven't lost to an unranked team since 2011, and it's been 36 straight wins against unranked teams. And I think it's that culture that Dabo has developed and that mentality that he's instilled that's allowed them to have such consistency.
Well, Clemson clearly made a great case to the committee, and Trevor giving us a lot of insight there on how they were able to do that. Trevor, we appreciate the time.
Great being with you all.
Thanks. So we've talked about this Florida State matchup coming up. This back end of the schedule, though, kind of looking favorable for Clemson. They have Florida State. If they get past the Seminoles, at Syracuse versus Wake Forest, at South Carolina, potentially the ACC championship after that. So really, once they get over this Florida State hump, the bulk of the tough schedule is behind them.
No, and I think that plays in their favor. If we're talking who's got the easiest road by who should win out, it should be Clemson. And that they don't have to jump over anybody anymore certainly makes a difference. They're not sitting there at 5 or 6. They're sitting there at number 1. So if they take care of business, they're in. And I think if you look at the other potential teams in there, of the undefeateds, I think they should be the most heavily favored in every game moving forward throughout, all the way to the ACC championship game. North Carolina is playing better, but a number 1 team should be able to handle North Carolina. Florida State's down. South Carolina, you talk about a rivalry game. Yes, but no. It's not the South Carolina Gamecocks that we've seen the last 10 years under Spurrier. Not this year. Clemson should absolutely handle that game. So if I'm going through my top 4, Clemson to me is my surest pick.
So what if Clemson loses to Florida State? Does the ACC get left out of the playoffs?
Yes, absolutely. I don't think there's enough strength there to say that there's not enough good games left. There's not enough strength on the schedule, unless we count Notre Dame as part of the ACC. Then I think a one-loss team absolutely opens it up for everybody else, eliminates Florida State, eliminates Clemson. They have to win out in order for the ACC to get a team in. But if they do, they're in. So there's not going to be a whole lot of speculation after that, though.
Well, the good news for us is we don't have to wait very long to see this game because they're going to match up this weekend, and I'm expecting to see a good showdown in Death Valley between these two teams. So it'll be a lot of fun to talk about that moving forward. That's it for us here at Scout Battleground. For Scott Kennedy, I'm Amy Campbell. Thanks for joining us.